Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RTG TV for this Thursday race here in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps for their third round tie. As I said, we're here at Spa, the longest circuit on the calendar. It's 7.004 kilometres and 52 miles in length. It's got 19 corners, 2 DRS zones, and the tyres we'll be using around this circuit are the C4, which are the soft, C3 that are mediums, and the C2 that are the hard tyres. After last week, when we saw Pippo Kennedy win in Japan, Koitsgamer is leading the championship. He's on 41 points, closely followed by Super Striker in second on 40 points. Pippo Kennedy is third on 39. 37 points for Chuck in fourth. Fifth is Looney Man on 32. The Ferraris are leading the constructors, 59 points, 55 points for Alfa Romeo, and 51 points for the McLaren team. If you want to see the rest of the standings, check out the standings on Instagram, or check them out on the YouTube page as well, where we do a post every week of the standings. So, as you can see, we've only got 16 drivers, supposed to have 20, so hopefully we'll have some reserves turn up. And whilst I've been talking, before we even went live, actually, Nice Job Mate has been disqualified, Lee. So now this has turned into a 18-minute practice session, unless anyone else comes up.
Oh. No, that I never even noticed there about what happened there. A nice job, mate. Suspecting maybe parked in a dangerous location, maybe beached it somewhere. But yeah, seen a few people actually out on the intermediates. Tiny 147, first one to settle up on them.
Yeah, anyone that's joining us who doesn't know this, in Q1, in the full qualifying on a Thursday, we have drivers who want to opt in to do the intermediate championship from this season. We will be keeping stats on that. We have been starting to keep some more stats, a bit more in depth, so we'll have to add that one to the list as well from next week, Lee. I'm sure, as I wasn't here last week, so I'm not sure if it happened. I'm sure we probably had some drivers on Intis last week, but we've got 5 today at the moment.
I think it was only, I think it was 1 or 2 that done it last week, but it looks like we've got 5 here. Mind you, Chuckle is still in the pit lane at the moment. I think up next will be Chuck. Well, next on the intermediates, that is. As he's just coming up to Bonchemont now. As Matty Jones just puts in the fastest lap, 143.2.
So yeah, as I said, we've got 16 at the moment. We're supposed to have some more reserve drivers turn up. Only Tiny is the only reserve that has turned up so far. Nice Job Mate should be another. Danny, Perm Bowden and Banter Brandon potentially will turn up later on in this session. Of course, with the full qualifying, we've got about 45 minutes of qualifying. Oh, sorry, is Perm Bowden in? Oh, so we're missing a full-time driver then?
He is a full-time.
Is he?
Let's see. Yes.
He's on the tentative list on my.
Yeah, so's Danny as well. I think they two were just like unsure whether to be racing or not. So.
Okay. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything. Pippo Kennedy's leading the drivers on the intermediates. Matty Jones has set a lap time of 143.234 and is sitting provisionally first in this Q1 session. Matthew, when we were last here on Thursdays, the last time we were here anyway, and that was last season at round 5, the pole time at the end of that full qualifying session was a 141.092, so we'll see if that gets beaten today. If it does, and more than likely going to get into the 140s, which would be a very, very quick time indeed. Yeah, so just waiting to see.
Yeah, and it's also useful to note that all these drivers who have came out on intermediates right now, if no one else turns up, then they have got an extra set of soft tyres going forward into the next session.
Yeah, well, some of them have opted to use the medium tyre, actually, is there? is their quali run. Is Matty Jones is already retired. We might see others retire quickly, but if I was them, I probably wouldn't retire because I want to get the extra practice in. So it does mean that for the next 10 minutes we somewhat turn into a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just if they're using up that one set, then they may as well just use that, get some practice in. Yeah, it's worth it, but at the same time, you may need to end up using them tyres at one point. But you never know how things go and turn out.
Yeah, so we're just looking at the Alfa Romeo here of Prof, of course, now going back to Sauber. And if anyone's been reading Formula One news recently, Sauber have now won the competition of the worst team name in Formula One history. The Stake F1 team Kick Sauber. Awful. Whoever was in the marketing department that decided that name needs to be, I was going to say sacked, but I'm thinking more shot, because it was so bad. So bad. Like whoever ticked the box when it came across their desk is an idiot. So here comes Matthew. He's joined the session now. So John will be delighted about that, watching along. So, hello, John. I know you said hello to us earlier on, so just saying hello back now. But yeah, Matthew in the session now. Is he going to be able to beat his pole time from last time? Sorry, they're gone.
I would like one thing I will say about the new Sauber name is it's just like if that's the case, what would they name their children? Like if that's
Ferrari.
what they're coming up with for a name.
Christian Horner.
As I say, if they call them Ferrari, they're not going to make good life choices in that sense.
They're not going to do their homework, are they?
Oh, the amount of absolute terrible pit strategies and everything that they've done is just unreal.
Yeah, don't give them an assignment, 3,000 word assignment, they'll come back with 30.
Oh, it's just shocking sometimes.
Anyway,
to be honest.
enough of mocking the Italians. As Chuckle starts his intermediate time here as he makes his way down to Eau Rouge. And then we get up to the plateau of Radion and then down the Kemmel Straight. Has to be careful though, of course, even though they like doing the intermediate, using the intermediate tyres. I think we've had Banter Brandon join late as well, actually, Lee. So we're just waiting for Matthew to pick his car. So we're going to have 18. Obviously, nice job, mate, starting from the very back in that Red Bull.
Let's see.
Of course, as well, today's an interesting one. The last race of 2023. And I have to say, for me and Lee doing this the past 2 or 3 years, I think 2023 has been our best year for commentating, actually. I've really enjoyed RTG this year. And hopefully, when we get into the second half of the first half of the season in the new year, on the 1st of Jan, it'll get better and better from next year onwards. Chuckle sliding all over the place. He's playing with fire a little bit there.
Yeah, of course, being on them green mode Pirellis and the medias ain't going to really help. He was going for it, but unfortunately didn't manage to get a lap in unless he's going to have to pit. So it looks like Pibble takes the crown this time.
Yeah, potentially. As I said, from next week we'll make sure to have the stats so we know exactly who's won this season. As I said, we got some more stats on the go. And as I said, I wasn't here last week, but I found out all the info I need from last week. As Arg was one of the people out in Q1 last week, and the other one was One Wheel Kyle, who is here again today. And by the way it's going at the moment, he will be going through.
Yep, it looks like. Yep. So everyone now is going to be able to get through except from Nice Job and Banter Brandon.
Yeah. That's what it's looking like to me.
Yeah, even these intermediate runners will be safe. I think that's what the Aston Martin drivers are doing. They're just sitting there chilling, making sure anyone who joins in late doesn't catch them by surprise.
And the other thing I can guarantee for you today, ladies and gents, is we're going to have a new pole sitter on Thursdays for season 14, as it's been taken by the Dutchman of Koik's Gamer both times. And, yeah, not here. Well, he's taken pole in the race. In qualifying, not the sprint. I'm not too sure about that. I haven't got the stat for you for that one. Maybe he did. Yeah, I think he might have done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in terms of the 18-minute or the full 45 minutes worth of qualifying, he's took pole in both of those. Not going to happen today, as he hasn't turned up today. And I'll just double check that. No, he declined the attendance today, so it's definitely going to be another pole sitter, as we're riding on board with Matthew in that Papaya McLaren as he makes his way down to Pouhon. Throws the car into the left-hander, hope and prays it sticks as he now makes his way out of that corner and into the right-left chicane, and then into the first part of Stavelot, where he's got an Alpha Tauri up ahead, and I don't think he realised he was on a lap, Lee. I'm not too sure who that is. Is it One Wheel Kyle? It is.
Yeah, and Kyle was on a lap there.
Oh. You think Kyle was on a lap?
He was.
So I wonder what time Matthew's going to set here. He's probably lost a good second or so, at the very least. It didn't even matter. He goes on into provisional first place towards the end of this Q1 session at 1:43.037. We're still 2 seconds off his pole time last season. So hopefully we'll see the track ramp up more and more. Still 2 drivers yet to set a lap. I believe now, knowing from what we knew last season, Lee, that they don't even have to set a lap anymore. They will just go through anyway.
Yeah, they will, and well, Chuckle, he's realising that. He's just having a bit of fun now out on the intermediate tyres. He's just thinking, well, may as well save the tyres now if I'm guaranteed to go through. So he's going to be having another shot at that intermediate championship. Now, one thing I do need to check is who it was. It's Pippo Kennedy, right? So, if we look at his time at 1:47.506, so that is one to keep in mind.
Why is that?
For the intermediate. So 1:47.506, that's the time that Chuckle has to beat for this, for the wee intermediate challenge that they'd like to do.
As he makes his way around the corner with No Name, that subsequently now has a name of No Name Corner, and then...
Really?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, it isn't, but it is, isn't it? It's No Name Corner, which is now a name, as he's exit turn 12 of Pouhon, and as he goes into Campos of turns 13 and 14, and then into the first of the 2 parts of Stavelot, which is a tricky corner to get right on the right tyre for the right conditions, and even harder when you're on the wrong tyre on the in the dries. He now makes his way down to Blanchimont, and then the bus stop chicane to finish this lap. Easy flat, even with intermediate tyres on there through Blanchimont, getting the braking right for the first part of the bus stop that was reprofiled in 2006, of course being called the bus stop back then because it was looking like a bus stop chicane, but obviously these days, and there you go, Chuckle's gone faster than Pippo, so it's looking like he might take that coveted award today.
Yeah, but it looks like it. So no one else has appeared to have joined, and it looks like that's it. Everybody, Trez hasn't even set a lap, so he's saved all his tyres. And now I think that is going to be I think Pippo Kennedy's just finishing a lap, and he was fastest with a 142.496. Over half a second quicker than Matthew there. Of course, Matthew did get held up coming out of the last Stavo.
So while we wait, guys, make sure if you haven't done already to subscribe to the channel to keep an eye on content. Of course, we're having highlight videos every week over the weekend at the end of that week, and obviously moments of the week as well, which is a short video. Just get the top 3 moments that we think of being the top 3 moments in that video, and of course along with the 2 live streams as well. So make sure to keep an eye out for those. As I said, got highlights of the week from week 2, so if you haven't checked that one out, please do. And if you haven't checked out the race on Monday, I would advise waiting for the highlight video if you haven't already, because there was a load of safety cars and it's going to be quite easy for me to edit that one on Monday. But the one thing I will give credit for at that race, it was a very good ending. It was a very good ending. So if you just want to go and watch the last sort of 4 or 5 laps, it was yeah. And not to give the person any discredit, but it wasn't someone as I was expecting to win on Monday. So yeah, go and have a look at the race on Monday when we were at Imola, because this is your last chance of the year to watch any races from RTG. Of course, having a 2-week, it's a week and a bit, isn't it? A week and a bit break we've got now until the 1st of Jan, which I'm not looking forward to, because I've got a horrible feeling I'm going to be absolutely hanging that day, as I usually am on the 1st of Jan.
I get paid just for it, so I'm going to be recovering.
Anyway, that looks like it's it. Pippo Kennedy's making his way into the pit lane. And once he gets pushed back into the garage, we'll have the rundown and get underway for Q2, which hopefully will be a more competitive session than this one's been, because it's been a little bit undramatic, this session.
We better anticlimactic, we'll say.
That's the word I was looking for. Anticlimactic. There you go.
Brain fart.
Brain fart, exactly.
Right. So, having a wee rundown of the first qualifying session. Of course, it doesn't look like anyone really went all out compared to the times previous, but Pippo Kennedy getting the fastest lap, 142.496. Then just behind him was Matthew, then it was Matty Jones, Royal Rumble, Prof, GTR, Perrin Bowden, and Aki. They were all on the soft tyres, and Tiny Chuck, Ginge, all on intermediates, and then on inters, mediums for One Wheel Kyle, and inters for Lee. Triz didn't set a time, but he's still going to be able to go through to the next qualifying session. Banter Brandon and Nice Job Mate won't be making it through, as Nice Job Mate did end up getting it disqualified, unfortunately. But now, moving on to the second of the 3 qualifying sessions, and hopefully it's going to be a little bit more action.
So as everyone already knows, of course, we're going to have 15 minutes now with the 15 drivers, and the bottom 5 are going to get knocked out, and that will be their position when we start the 22-lap race. And then we'll get on to Q3, where we'll have the top 10 shootout for pole. And there we go, we're into that Q2 session. And One Wheel Kyle, for the first time this season, has got himself into Q2. We'll see if he's able, as well as his teammate, will be able to get into Q3.
Seeing some activity now. Let's see who's the first one out.
Another thing to also mention as well, if you didn't check out the race last week, again, it was quite dramatic at the end of the race as well. So have a look at that one as well. I wasn't there for it, but obviously editing the videos, I've seen what happened, and as Lee would probably agree, it was rather interesting, the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes.
Definitely, to say the least. It was quite a shocker, to be honest. It's something I never expected to see, but yeah, it was really, really interesting. To say the least.
So, Aki last week, he was knocked out in Q2, along with Danny as well in the McLaren, but he isn't here this evening. Matthew is in that McLaren today, obviously reserving. Ginge as well, who I don't think is here also. Oh no, he is, sorry, he's in 5th place. So he was knocked out in Q2. Perm Bowden as well. I'm not too sure if Perm Bowden's here. He is in the Haas. And Prof as well, who's in 7th. So we've already got about half the drivers out on the circuit, with another one about to join them as well. As you can just see, one of the Alfa Romeos making his way out of the garage. So now we wait to see these lap times come in. We shouldn't see anyone on intermediates or mediums now. It should all be getting serious on that Red Bull tyre and getting down to the action, getting serious, getting in the zone where Matthew is already on a lap lead as he makes his way down into the source and exits, and now he's flat to the floor for around a mile as we now go down the hill into this compression, and then we ascend and rise up to Radion, where he's took a huge amount of curve on the inside there, but not too much, kept it within track limits. Down the Kemmel Straight, DRS open. We're going to be hitting about 215 miles an hour, 330 kilometres an hour when we hit the brakes into the first part of Lake Com. Through that part, through turn 7, 8 and 9, down into Brussels turn 10, and then, which is an off-camber corner, quite difficult to get right, get it back over to the right-hand side to tuck it in nicely to the left-hander. Oh, watch out on the exit there, got very close to the white line, but he was still within track limits. That little seesawing of the wheels surely would have lost him a little bit of lap time there, as now he exits turn 12 and into Campos of 13 and 14. Love this track, Lee. Absolutely love it. I think you're on mute, mate.
Yep, sorry, I've got to say it is one of my favourite tracks. It's got so many notable moments in the past in previous racing, like I think it was Hakkinen and Schumacher going down the Kemmel Straight, and there was a back marker that one went one way and the other went the other way.
Yeah,
absolutely smashing. Raikkonen going down there when it was full of smoke.
Schumacher, DC going into the back of was it Schumacher that went into the back of DC? I think it was Schumacher that went into the back of DC, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then decided he wasn't a Formula 1 driver anymore. He wanted to be a MMA fighter or a boxer. After that, decided he wanted to be a bit like Conor McGregor or AJ. He wanted a bit of a career change. You see Mercedes now coming out of Les Source, and that's got to be, I think that's Aki, who's just completed his lap. It is.
Yep. But yeah, honestly, and then there was one I remember seeing that was from the W Series. And
oh my days, yeah, I know what you're on about.
They were going up, up Eau Rouge, and they had zero grip, and it all just went right into the barrier, one right after the other. Fortunately enough, no one was hurt, but
yeah, and that's one thing.
Funny.
And that's one thing about this circuit as well. It's old school, and it's still one of those ones where death can linger over the circuit. Of course, in 2019 with Antoine Hubert, who passed away at the top of Radion in that F2 race, and you've had other big accidents in recent years as well with Lando Norris in 2021, I think it was. I
Was
think,
there
yeah.
not an F3 driver or something just recently?
Yeah, I think as well. Another one was
forget
Jack
his name.
Jack Aitken, who reserved in the Sakir Grand Prix in 2020. He broke his back in a GT car up Eau Rouge as well. So yeah, so it's still still one of those tracks that has a lot of danger around it. And whenever you go to a racing event, on the back of the ticket, it does say motorsport is dangerous, and it's certainly one of those places where, as I said, danger still looms large. I think drivers like it for that reason, though, as well, because in some ways, like someone like my old man, who was born in the late 50s, watched Formula One in the 70s and 80s, I think he kind of misses that element of real danger where you don't feel like you get that so more. Obviously there is, but the safety aspects, but this is one of those tracks, I think, where they've got to be razor sharp. Fortunately, as I said, when you're sat in your living room, bedroom, spare room, wherever you are, you don't have that worry. But obviously when you go in for real life, it's a bit of a worrying place, and it can really bite you here.
I mean, looking at the safety precautions back like 70 years ago, like hay bales as barriers and everything, it was just...
Bring him back, I say. Bring him back.
Watch the death toll just rise right up.
I think it should be like rallying. The spectators should be on the edge of the circuit. That should be the white line.
That is insane. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like, I remember seeing it back in like the Group B days and like the 8 days, like some of the videos and that. I was like, they're literally on the track as the car's coming.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
It's pretty mental. So I've got massive respect for Formula One drivers, but I think the real hats off of those rally drivers. They are another breed of animal. They are the way they can go down those country roads in snow, gravel, whatever conditions it is, and just keep their foot
on the track.
And they don't know. They just got a chap next to them. Hopefully they're getting it right. Hopefully they can read English properly. Hats off to them. I mean,
the one thing I think is funny though is like you've got Max Verstappen saying don't speak to me on the corners and everything, and then you've got these guys like just don't shut up, speak to me in the corners. It's just, I think it's hilarious. But it's funny, the two Alpines have still not came out yet.
No, waiting a little bit longer than usual. Yeah, that's definitely something on my bucket list, though, to go to a rally. I don't live too far from Wales, so could easily be possible for me. A lot of, obviously, World Rally Championships happen in Wales. So that's something I'd hope to be able to do one day. As Fern Bonin makes his way towards the pit lane now after completing that first lap of his with a 144.352. Ginger's putting a pretty decent lap so far.
Yeah, we've got Royal Rumble, who's the only one on track that'll be setting a lap in the next few moments anyway, as he's just coming up to the final chicane now. Getting ready to start a lap, it seems.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He's not turned on that battery yet. There we go.
Oh no, he's coming into the pits. A narrow pit lane here as well.
Yeah, it's
especially at the left-hander into the pits. It's quite narrow there. Where Kimi Räikkönen discovered that in like 2020 or 2019, that it was quite narrow. He took off his left front, didn't he? I seem to remember turning in there. I can't remember if it was 19 or 20 he did that.
I think there's quite a few drivers possibly racing here tonight that have actually done that. I know definitely that I have in the past. Is like you said, it is really tight, really narrow. And you can't really carry a lot of speed through that.
No.
Not without being very precise, that is, anyway. I guess that rallying experience didn't really pay off in that aspect with Kimi.
Yeah, there are a few of them that rally, aren't there? I mean, I know that Seb did a little bit, and still does, I think, now, just for fun, and Kimi did some. Valtteri does a bit as well, but of course, being from Finland, that's quite natural for him to do that.
True.
But I think they do that in the winter, don't they, to keep themselves sharp? I don't think there's anything much better to do than rally in the winter to keep yourself sharp.
Yeah, I've got to agree there. But yeah, it is always interesting. Like even seeing how they're going down these roads, icy conditions, badass if you ask me. But right now we've got Royal Rumble just coming to the line. Is he going to improve on his time? He does by half a second, and that puts him into 8th place of 143.042. Now we've still not seen any of the Alpines come out yet.
No, and they've got to be getting out in the next sort of minute and 20 seconds at the very most. This is obviously the longest circuit on the calendar. It's the longest lap time as well, which subsequently obviously adds up to being the longest out lap as well. So, got to be getting on with it here. As the Red Bull goes past, that might be I think that's it is the Scotsman Tiny, who was around for Monday's race as well, who I think Lee made the wrong call after one of those last safety cars that stayed out on the used tyre, and he did get swallowed up. So if that happens again today with a safety car and he's on a used set, hopefully he'll have a decent enough memory to remember what happened on Monday and dive in, because he just fell back.
Sometimes it's not worth just trying to go for track position near the end. Maybe at the start it's a bit more worthwhile, but come near the end, if everyone's pitting, then you may as well duck into the pits. Either that or you're going to end up getting swallowed up, or you have to have a really, really great defence. Still, in that aspect, you could always end up getting swallowed up easy. Royal Rumble, though, he's cancelled his lap. He's gonna, oh no, he's just finished the lap, is he? Yep, so we've got GT Ord out. Triz will be out, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
It's too late. It's too late for him now. He needed to come out about 20 seconds ago.
Yep, One Wheel Kale, he's going to be out also.
Yeah, interesting why he hasn't bothered to set another lap time. One Wheel Kyle has started outside the top 10 now, 3 races in a row. So not a great qualifying start to his RTG career.
On the bright side, at least he is improving. He managed to get through. Of course, with a little bit of luck there on that side.
Yeah, well, he was out in Q1 last week and was outside the top 10 in the first week when we had short qualifying. Obviously, it's going to be a bit of a mix-up because we have short qualifying when it's a sprint format, and when it's the standard, obviously we have this full qualifying session. So GT Ord now doing his one and only lap in Q2 as the blue and pink 99 Alpine makes his way through La Source and then down to arguably the most famous corner in Formula One, or even more arguably the most famous corner in the world, alongside corners like the Corkscrew, of course, at Laguna Seca. Thank you very much, my conscience. That wasn't Lee speaking, that was my conscience. As he now makes his way into Les Combes, 7, 8 and 9. Yeah, my conscience is Scottish as well, by the way. As we go down into Brussels, turn 10. And into No Name, which is a tricky corner, No Name corner. Especially on the exit, if you get it wrong, it can really start to slide towards that DHL wall. As he makes his way through Pion and on to Campos, the right-left chicane. The checker flag is now out. We've still got drivers out on laps. I think Matty Jones being one of them. Of course, Aki and Lee, they really need to improve as well. They're on the cusp of being out as well. But this man
finished his lap.
Has he?
Yep.
Oh, he finished a little earlier on, did he? Matty Jones going top there, so he's certainly going to be through he's going to go through into Q3. Pern Bowden as well. Not on a lap, so I think sorry, go on.
Matthew putting in the fastest time there, a 1:42.090.
Oh, GTR 12th. Went really wide at the exit of the final corner. Almost went off the track, actually.
Wait a minute. Lee could get out here, and he does. Improves by 7/10.
Oh, it's dropped Aki out. So he went a little bit earlier than others. Did that cost him not going right at the end and actually seeing the checkered flag? He's gonna have feel like a long drive back to the pits now, and I'm sure he's going to be a bit annoyed about that.
Yeah, I think also he's going to be running out of fuel, and the thing is, he was only 100th of a second off of Royal Rumble's time into Q3. So just missing out by the narrowest of margins. Now he's ringing that fuel tank for every possible drip of fuel to get him back to the pits as he's coming around the penultimate corner into the pits now.
So the other thing to mention as well, as this is the last race of the year, last race of the month, keep your eyes out over the Christmas period for overtakes of December, or the best overtakes of December. That'll be out at some point, not sure when. Usually most normal months it's going to be out sort of the last couple of days or the very start of the next month. Potentially that's going to be the same here, probably more likely to be around the sort of between Christmas and New Year time, because I've got a little bit of time off from work in between there to get it done, so keep an eye out for that one as well. One of the overtakes from Monday I'm sure is going to be in there as well, and that was lose my brain everywhere today, my memory. Little Mo, who did a couple of absolutely fantastic overtakes at Imola, which isn't the easiest place to overtake. Lee?
Yep, I'm here, so thank you. So for the second of the three qualifying sessions, we've got Matthew there, puts in the fastest time of 1:42.090. Behind him, Matty Jones. Then it was Jen, Chuck, Tiny, Lee, Pipple Kennedy, Prof and Royal Rumble. They'll be moving on to the next session. Ake in 11th, just narrowly missing out. GTR 12th, Per Bowden 13th, 14th, One Wheel Kyle and Trez not setting it up, and he's going to be in 15th come the race. So now we move on to the final qualifying session where the top 10 will battle out for that coveted pole position and that extra point. So who's going to be first out of the garage?
Yeah, this isn't a Q3 session where you can really hang around as being the longest circuit. So we should see people coming out within the first minute or two to make sure they can get those 2 laps in time. Obviously, some people decide to sort of have that break at the start and then kind of leave it sort of 8-9 minutes, do their lap, come back in, and they've got about a minute turnaround to get back out again. But no, looks like drivers coming out pretty quickly within the sort of first 40 seconds, give or take. And it does seem like there's been a bit of a chain reaction and all coming out at once. See, I've got 5 of the drivers already out, Lee.
Yep, so we'll have a wee look, see who's going to be first. It looks like it's Williams of Royal Rumble. He's just coming into Lakeholm now. He's going to be the first to settle up, or at least to start a lap, that is. 2-6.
That's all right. So the only teammates we've got in this Q3 session are the 2 Aston Martins and the 2 Alfa Romeos. Everyone else is representing their team on their own in this Q3 session. So yeah, I believe Royal Rumble will be the first one to start a lap, and he's got quite a big gap to the car behind him, which is Pippo Kennedy, And then behind him is Ginge. Then we've got Tiny behind him. We've got a Ferrari of Matty Jones as well. I'm going to try and keep track of this. And then Lee behind him. We've only now got one driver in the pits. That's Matthew, who's opting to do that. What I said, wait a few minutes, come out around the 9-minute mark and have a quick turnaround as Royal Rumble starts his first of hopefully 2 laps as he makes his way into Les Sources, arguably one of the most important traction zones on the lap, as we've got a whole mile of flat out racing, or flat out driving, so we're not racing yet. Flat out up Eau Rouge, get to the top at Radion, turn right handed here at the Camel Straight, open the DRS, bit of a wait now before we hit the brakes, deciding where we're going to turn in for the first part of Les Combes. Gets it done rather nicely there, misses the apex a little bit of the second part at turn 8 and turn 9 as well, but gets it all sorted on the exit. Now down into Brussels as he exits there. He gets up on that curve on the exit of Brussels, which is quite a steep one, and then goes wide at turn 11. No name corner, goes off the track and invalidates his lap time. And I don't believe, because this track is so long, he'll have the fuel to go again. So I think he's already... he's only got 1 lap to go now, I think, with the time left on the clock.
Yeah, unless he could, if he's quick, that is, he might be able to get in quickly, and it'll be a really, really tight squeeze, I would say, but I would say it'd be tough. But it's going to be Pippo Kennedy who's going to be the first to settle up in Q3, as he's just coming around Blanchemont and now onto the final chicane, turns at 19 and 20, and we'll see what time he's going to be able to do. And now to the line, 141.740, so first one into the 141s, I do believe.
Yes, I think that's right. Just to refresh your memory, Matthew did a 141.092 in last season's round 5 when we were last here. And Tiny goes into second with a 142.1. So as you said, Pippo, the only one getting into the 141s right now, of course, winning last week. So should be on a high still from winning in Japan. Who we've got up next? We've got the 2 Alfa Romeos coming up next. Yep, Chuckle first, then Prof just after him, and Chuckle making a big mistake there through the exit. Goes third fastest. Prof comes up to the line, and he's going to start a lap, so he must have backed out to give it another shot. Matthew's still in the pits, so this is a 1-lap shootout, I think, for Matthew now. He's left it a little bit too late. Here comes Chuck up to the line. What's he going to set? A 142.054. Very close to getting into the 141s. But we're still a long, long way off Matthew's pole time.
Yeah, most definitely. So, looks like Royal Rumble just crawling back to the pit line there. Prof just coming out of Les Combes into Brussels now. Like you said, off camber, got to be careful of that curb on the exits. It's quite a high one, can't throw you off. Going nicely around Pouon, no name into Pouon now.
Every time I look at an off-board at Pouon, it looks like the whole car is sliding through the corner.
Really?
Yeah, I get that kind of look from it. So he's now coming out of Campos into the first part of Stavolo.
Nah, I think you're just tripping, bro.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I've already had too much coffee. As he goes into Blanchemont, nice and easy flat. Just make sure to take the line of least resistance, and then we get on the anchors for 19 and 20. As we round that final corner, obviously keep it right to the right hand side, which Prof was doing to the absolute extreme there, almost went into the Tech Pro barrier there, where you if you go over that barrier, you'd be into the pit lane. Now slides out of Les Source. Obviously, it doesn't matter now about the lap time because he's just coming back into the pits to get his last lap done. If he's still got enough time, unfortunately, every time we're in qualifying, he's got 4 minutes and 50. It's going to be close.
I reckon it still could be done. It's definitely going to be a tight squeeze, but he is going to have to kind of get a move on. He's only just coming out of Wycombe now. So he's got another, minute to go.
Maybe a little bit more than that.
Could do it.
It's going to be a quick turnaround though, isn't it? So, I'm interested to see what Matthew can do here. He's put a lot of pressure on his shoulders, only having the one lap that he can complete now. So what's this man going to do with his one and only lap?
Yeah, it appears we're still waiting for any movement in that McLaren garage.
And I don't believe as well, correct me if I'm wrong there, I don't feel like we've had any more drivers join in this Q2 or Q3 session. So I think it will be the 17 that we'll be starting with today.
Yeah, but I do believe that will be the case. Although one person I'm kind of unsure about is Trez, as he's not even came out with his garage as of yet, so...
I think he had a qualifying ban actually, I did have a look.
Oh yes, he did, my mistake, yeah. I was just thinking with that, yeah.
I believe he did. Evening, Paul. So we've got Paul in the chat now, our Thursday champion, who of course isn't racing on Thursdays this season. He's in Monday because it's the Tier 1, this is Tier 2. So he's hoping to technically keep his crown in Monday this season. So Royal Rumble now on an outlap late. He's got the track all to him. Yeah, no worries. He's got the track all to himself at the moment. We saw this from Aki last time, though. He came out early in Q2, but then got knocked out at the end of that Q2. So potentially going earlier might not be best. Got Chuckle making his way out of the pits as well. Oh, apologies for Lee's mic there, making a lot of noise.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, everybody's starting to come out. Matthew. Oh, now he's just coming out now. So it looks like he's going to be the last one to settle up.
Bear with me a second.
Copy that. So Royal Rumble, first one of the final to start a lap. And hopefully he's going to be okay with these cars that are just going through Wycombe now. Should be alright. But he gets through to a source quite nicely, down into Radion and up Eau Rouge. Foot flat to the floor. You've got to be
Wrong way round.
That curb. Is it? Eau Rouge then Radion? What way is it?
Eau Rouge then Radion. Eau Rouge is the bottom of the hill. Radion is the top.
That's Radion, actually.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, that just comes into my head every single time I hear that word. But yeah, just watching Royal Rumble now. Done no name quite nicely there. Now into pull-on. I think you could have carried a little bit more speed there, but to keep it out on the right-hand side, try and get it to that curb as much as possible. Now into Campos, and now going into Stavolo here.
Also, keep an eye out because we've got 15 seconds left on the clock. Just ahead of them, we've got a Red Bull, an Aston Martin and McLaren and I think it may be, yeah, the Ferrari of Matty Jones just about to cross the line now. They're cutting it very fine and just get their lap started as Royal Rumble's about to see the checker flag as he comes into the final two corners around that bus stop chicane. And he's now going to set his one and only lap, which is going to be a 142.665. And the best place, the highest he's going to start is 5th place. But obviously we've got drivers now out doing their final attempts, with Chuckle being the next one up.
Yep, Chuckle's just coming in to Stavilo now to finish his sector 2, and we'll see how much he's going to be up. He's up by 3/10 already. So could he be in contention for this pole position? He's got to try and gain another 3/10, and he quite possibly could. As would remember, I'm having a quite poor exit from the final corner. So now going into the final chicane, we'll see how he's going to be able to do. He managed to hit that apex on the final corner better this time. And now to the line, and he does beat it at 141.635. Up next, Chuck. Was he going to do it? He improves, but stays in the same position.
And now we've got the Alpha Tauri of Pippo Kennedy that hits the wall on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Not sure if he did that on purpose. He's on the front row, though. And now we've had a few more cross the line. Ginge crosses the line, and does a 142. The Scotsman, Tiny's on provisional pole as it stands. Is Matty Jones or Matthew going to be able to beat it? They just crossed the line to start their lap at the very last moment. Is Matthew going to be on pole? He's on provisional pole. And I think he's got pole with Matty Jones, who crossed the line just behind him. Yeah, there we go. So for the second season in a row, Matthew is starting on pole in Belgium. And he was half a second off his best time when we were here last season.
Yep, quite a big jump, I will say. But of course, only having that one lap in the final session will impact him a little. But Matthew getting that pole position, Tiny in second there, just been having that provisional pole for just a few moments. Chuckle third, Pippo Kennedy fourth, Chuck in fifth, Ginger's in sixth, Matty Jones seventh, Prof 8th, 9th was Royal Rumble, and Lee is in 10th. So looking at this, you can see from 1st to 5th are within 2/10 of a second.
And on a track like Belgium, which is 7 kilometres in length, that's not a lot of a gap between them.
Nope, it is certainly not.
So, as usual, we won't have a formation lap because EA don't know how to make their games properly. So we'll just do it the way we've usually been doing it. Get into this race director, have a look at what tyres everyone's going on. There you go. We're going to have 17 drivers that are going to compete in this race. We haven't had anyone else join that we didn't notice in the subsequent qualifying sessions. Bit of a mix right now. Obviously, they do put you on like a standard setup. Basically, obviously they give you a choice straight away. Obviously, people will change that potentially, and potentially change the tyre that they're starting on.
Ooh.
And we got Matthew Jones in 7th, yeah, on the hard. I can see that as well. Matthew is the only one right now in the top 10 that's on the soft tyres. And the next one after that is Aki in 11th on softs. I think it's mainly a one-stop here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, but I think they softs will only last about 7 laps, I think. 8 laps at a push. I'm unsure about that, so it will be... he will have to kind of boot it down at the start here, if he is starting on them soft compounds. Chuck could go in the same. Matty Jones went back to the mediums now. Cool.
Yeah, Matthew now gone to the mediums. Chuck is changed to the soft tyre. Aki's still sitting on that soft tyre. One Wheel Kyle is on the softs as well in 14th place and hasn't changed that. So I think everyone's decided to actually ditch the hard tyre now. And we're about to get underway. So we've got 3, 4 and 5 red lights. And we're away for the third round of the Thursday tier as we go down in towards turn 1. Matthew's got a brilliant start there. Chuck is alongside, almost into turn 1 with Tiny. He's now alongside, but Tiny's on that soft tyre and he's going to get the traction out of Les Source as we go down towards Eau Rouge and Radion as we go down into the compression and then rise and ascend up to Radion. He's still leading the way as we go down the Kemmel Straight. Royal Rumble getting very close to the back of that Alfa Romeo who Prof is driving, that Alfa Romeo, and then the Mercedes of Aki looking like he wants to get a bit racy, looking at the inside, got the soft tyres on, he's going to have the better grip on the brakes, goes on the inside and then on the outside gets the move done. 9th place for him as they exit the Les Combes chicane, and then Lee decides to have an opportunistic overtake there, and Royal Rumble's lost 2 places in 1 chicane, and we're seeing Pippo Kennedy and Chuck switching places as Pippo had to defend on the inside there at No Name Corner. Matty trying to make it around the long way as we go into Pouhon. 6/10 separate the top 2 right now as Ginge getting closer and closer to the back of Matty Jones. And Matty Jones going wide there through the first part of Campos as we go into the first part of Stavolo now. And all quite decent and respectful at the moment, Lee.
Yeah, well, we'll say, and Banter Brandon nearly goes into Triz there. As Triz kind of bottles it on the exit of Stavolo there. I will say the battling between them two there was a bit going through there. Banter Brandon getting quite aggressive, I will say. Braked that a little bit, like going into turn 1 and ended up going right out wide. I've already seen penalties coming in. And Mike Jones and Pippo Kennedy battling out. There's just a little bit of contact. Mike Jones just struggling to get the traction. Now he's got Ginger right on his gearbox going up. Ready on there. And Ginge had to pull off just that little bit.
GTO is already retired from the session. Obviously frustration got the better of him only in the first lap. Not something we really like to see as Lee now gets past Prof down that back straight. Obviously no DRS just yet. Gonna have to wait a little bit for that to happen.
Chuckle getting past Tiny on the inside of Brussels there. Nicely done there from the Alfa Romeo driver. Has moved up into 2nd place. Going to chase down Matthew, who's in that McLaren in 1st.
Yeah, looking reasonably comfortable at the moment, but hasn't been able to break that DRS 1 second window. Still got a few corners and a sector to be able to do that before we get that activated. The first time we're going to have the DRS is down the Kemmel Straight at the top of Radion. So, yeah, got about 2.5 tenths to gain on the car behind to have that security of not being not having that gap close with the aid of the DRS. Is Pern Bowden's off the road. Yeah, off the road at the second part of Campos. And when we go into Stavolo, he's got One Wheel Kyle just behind him, who he's going to get past by now, as he's struggling to get up to temperature and up to get his confidence back. And the tyres, actually, if you look on his dash there, are quite hot at the moment. As we go on to the second lap, it's still 7 tenths between the top 2 as they go into Les Source. And Matthew needs to get a good bit of traction out of here, get his foot flat to the floor as early as possible before we make this run down to Eau Rouge and up the hill before we get the DRS.
Wait a minute, Banter Brandon and Royal Rumble could be going side by side up. They're going up side by side up Radion, and Banter Brandon manages to get the move. What an overtake there. We'll say that was definitely ballsy from the McLaren man there.
But here comes Royal Rumble. He's trying to come back at him. Looks up the inside. Dives it to the inside. Actually goes quite wide there. Misses the apex by quite a lot. It sends Banter Brandon off the circuit. Oh, it's been a 6 and 1.5 a dozen of the other there. I'm sure Royal Rumble wants that place because he's gone off the circuit. But he didn't really make the corner and kind of forced Banter Brandon into a position where he had to go off the circuit and use the runoff. So I think it's kind of... yeah. I think it's fair
in that sense. Yeah. I don't think Royal Rumble was even ahead at any one particular point. He was just a little bit behind, so making that little bit of contact and pushing Banter Brandon off. Yeah, I would say Brandon has every right to keep that position there. But now, nice job is looking for that 12th position now and looking to overtake Royal Rumble there. He's moving right up, Mike.
And before that, Lee, actually, he looked more towards the front. Look at this. Chuckle and Matthew potentially switching places here. Chuckle going around the outside, getting later on the brakes. Brave and committed and got the move done. He isn't going to have the DRS, though. There goes a Ferrari. That's Matty Jones. This around at the exit of the bus stop chicane. Look at this. Tiny trying to go at the inside, trying to use that soft tyre. Misses the apex as well and actually uses the side pod of that McLaren to slow him down.
Yeah, but right now it looks like he could possibly be coming back and possibly getting back into second place, as Chuckle is going to be vulnerable now due to the DRS, and we know it's a big long straight here.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, and Triz just was going to the left there and had to switch to the right there as he would have went into the wall. Now they're going side by side through Lake Holm, and it looks like there's a little bit of contact.
Yeah, he's slid out there, and a few of them are gone now. Chuckle and Ginge as well. There's a few of them that's been caught up in that, and it looked like, Lee, that was only the slightest bit of contact as well.
Yep, it was. That is just unfortunate there, and due to that, nice job, mate, and Banter Brandon up 12 places each. Very impressive from the pair of them, managing to just stay out of all that trouble and just carry on.
Trisme gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings already on lap 4, so he pretty much got a warning every lap there, as one Will Kyle gets himself a time penalty as well for multiple warnings, down in 15th after having that big kerfuffle at the exit of Les Combes as Pippo Kennedy gets past Aki, and that's really shaking it up a little bit. It's left Matthew with a little bit of breathing space as well, but not for Tiny, as he's got that Mercedes right up his gearbox as we go down towards turn 1.
Yeah, I'm unsure what happened with Aki, as he just lost 2 places. He's got a broken front wing, that's why.
And Lee's into the pits. You said Aki also. There's going to be a few of them coming in now after, getting into trouble. I think sometimes drivers have a bit of an issue sometimes of not really seeing yellow flags. I mean, you don't get penalised for not slowing under yellows, but it is really advised still. Even though we have ghosting in RTG, it doesn't necessarily go straight away. So you do have that a bit of worry potentially when you see a yellow flag, and you've got to be cautious. Obviously, it's kind of what it says on the tin, really. But yeah, Matthew now 1.5 seconds in the lead, and thankful for those guys getting caught up with each other.
Yep, definitely. Chuckle there getting a bit shaky in the rear, going around the second of Les Combes there. Struggling for a little bit grip in the rear. Chuck, though, is he going to be able to catch up to Matthew up ahead? Will he have enough left in the tank, in them tyres? As we do know, with this being the longest track, they will tend to go off in less laps.
Well, the gap is just starting to close a little bit. Potentially the setup on that Mercedes is designed for more straight line speed. It's a really hard track to balance out what you want here. Most drivers tend to go for quite low downforce. Remember in F122, a lot of people used to use 0.0 wings, which was completely overpowered. I think they toned that down a little bit as Matty Jones now makes his way into the pits after spinning a couple of laps ago at the exit of the bus stop chicane. But yeah, now this is the point where we'll see if drivers have got a lower downforce setup than others. As I said, we're flat to the floor for about a mile here before we hit the brakes into Les Combes. DRS open for Tiny here. He moves to the right hand side and gets past before they even hit the brakes. But Lee, was that a bit too aggressive, a bit silly there to actually just move in front of Chuck just before they're hitting the brakes there? Maybe he should have just committed to staying on the inside. But it doesn't matter anyway. They didn't make contact, but it just looked a little bit sketchy.
I mean, it's just one of these little cheeky things. It's not not against the rules or anything like that. But yeah, I was paying more attention to nice job and banter. Brandon is a nice job was getting right up close to the back of Brandon for that 4th position. But both of them actually doing really well with their battery.
Yeah, and the other thing as well to mention, after that mix-up on lap 2, I think it really kind of spread the field out now, more than what we would usually see at this point in the race. So me and Lee don't usually want safety cars in a race. Maybe one, it kind of spices things up sometimes. It's not like it was on Monday, it was ridiculous. But already in the back of my mind now, I'm kind of thinking a safety car would do this race some good already.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, Lee will be kind of buggered by that with him just pitting onto them hard compound tyres, but of course you'll lose a bit of time with people going into the pits, but you'll still get a lot of that track position at least if he's that a little bit quick. But it looks like Matty Jones is going for that position, and Lee actually backs out of that, realising that he's on the slower tyre for now. Matty Jones on them yellow walled medium Pirelli tyres. Tiny and Chuck swapping places again as we head down to the Kemmel, head down into Lacombe. But Chuck is looking for a move on Ginge here, and he's got that DRS. He was right at his back wheel going there, and it looks like Triz is having to go as well up the inside at Lacombe. They're going to be side by side, and it looks like Ginge is going to be able to hold off on that 10th position for now. We'll see what else is going to be able to come. Is he going to be able to get that 9th position back off of Chuckle just ahead?
And the battle for second place, Lee, starting to hot up here. Matthew consistently keeping a nice gap here, but his teammate Banter Brandon's at the back of this 3-car train for second place. And nice job, mate, as well, is starting to catch up as well. It's starting to almost look like a battle between McLaren and Red Bulls right now, with a slight filling of Mercedes in the middle.
Yeah, it is certainly looking that way, but is Banter Brandon going to be able to get use that DRS to his advantage? Of course, it's not going to be able to help much against Tiny with him having the DRS, so he's going to have to try and get that position off him earlier. But looking at it now, he's probably going to be on the grippier tyre at the moment compared to them soft. They'll be starting to go off now, I would imagine, anyway.
And yeah, Banter Brandon getting a really good exit out of Les Source as well. As we now go down the Kemmel Straight, he's going to have DRS. Of course, Tiny in front of him is going to have the DRS as well. The only one that isn't is Chuck. He looks like he's got a good car in a straight line. Is Tiny undecisive there whether he wants to go to the inside or the outside, and decided to stay behind.
Oh, sorry,
couldn't make up his mind up.
Pibble Kennedy and Prof there looked like Pibble Kennedy getting that overtake done. Brandon.
Oh, looked like he went up the inside there at Brussels.
Yep.
Can get it done there, but you have to get a good exit out of turn 9, out of Les Com, sorry. Yeah, and now getting right on the gearbox of Chuck, who rear light is flashing away. And of course, that's an indication to say that he's harvesting energy. His battery is depleted. And we'll really know if that's the case down this back straight towards the bus stop. There you go already, where we should be using battery. He's saving it. He's charging up. So we'll get on board with him. Have a look at his steering wheel. Oh, there you go. You can actually see it there, just below his helmet, or just above his helmet, sorry. It's 2%. Now nothing. He has absolutely nothing to play with in terms of electrical energy, as he now dives into the pits. As Lee said, you said, Lee, 8 laps you reckon those soft tyres would last, and going on to lap 9, he's going into the pits.
Yeah, and they don't really last all that well here, but now Chuck going on to that yellow walled Pirelli, the mediums, they'll be most likely doing them till the end, so these medium runners will probably be going to about lap 15 roughly, maybe 14 on them tyres. because we could possibly get an extra lap with there being less fuel.
Yeah, and they potentially had, well, maybe some of them did have a fresh set of softs. Just seeing as what happened in Q1, they were able to bring that across and keep an extra set. But some of them may have used all of their new sets, and it would have been on a new set of softs. But whoever started on the mediums, pretty certain there would have been a new set. So yeah, they could do an extra couple of laps, maybe than what we could expect. But once we've now starting to have that pit stop window now, the gaps are starting to spread out a little bit. But as we always know, once those pit stops are concluded and we're getting to the latter stages of the race, those gaps start to come back down again. We see it week in, week out. But it's still quite close though between a lot of drivers, even though they're not within DRS range.
Yeah, but they are still looking quite nice. I mean, we should see Tiny and Chuck catching Chuckle, with them being on that fresher rubber, and of course that's them both within that 1 second range of each other, and of Chuckle just ahead. Pernbloden getting a 3-second time penalty. Well, we're here, we'll look at penalties right now. So Triz, Matty Jones and Pernbloden all on 3 seconds, and One Wheel Kyle on 6 seconds, unfortunately.
And Prof making his way into the pits on the medium tyre, already pitting.
Unless he's going on the hards, is he?
That wouldn't. It's got to be, isn't it? He can't go on the softs. Yeah, hard tyres, and
yep.
I wouldn't have expected that to be.
Oh, wait there, get to this battle for 6th position right now. We've got Tiny, Chuck, and Chuck.
And who's going to
see Tiny?
Yeah, well, who's going to come out? Who's going to come out on top here as we go into Lake Com? Chuck gets past Chuckle. Tiny now trying to get past Chuck as he looks up the inside. He's able to make the apex. You know, quite a lot of drivers missing the apex, trying to go for an overtake up the right-hand side, and there goes Chuckle in the same place. He had an incident on lap 2, 3. Not too sure which one, but that seemed like
Tiny.
Yeah, and it was with Tiny, but that one seemed like an incident of his own making, actually.
Yeah, I think Tiny just was that little bit slow coming out of the comb there, with Chuck just being ahead of him, and they were practically nose to tail going through that section. And then so you had to slow down just that little bit for the final right-hander of Lukom. But now Chuckle's dropped back 2.5 seconds there.
Yeah, that was a big mistake that really did cost him. And
nice job, mate. He's caught up to Banter Brandon there.
Yeah, and it's a McLaren 1-2 at the moment, but I don't want to burst anyone's bubble. I believe the top 3 at the moment are all reserves.
Yeah.
So obviously with RTG rules, if anyone doesn't know, whoever's reserving, you basically, at the end, just imagine those 2 at the top, they're going to slide out, and then everyone else is going to move up a step or steps, which it would be here. So if it's finished the way it was here on lap 11, which I can't believe, Lee, we're getting pretty much by the end of this lap at the halfway distance of this race. Where has that gone already?
Yeah, it certainly went quite quickly here, as I've seen plenty of battling here this evening. Oh, now Tiny gets past Chuck. That was McLaren and Red Bull down to between 1st and 4th.
Yeah, looking very strong for those guys at the moment. But as I said, don't want to burst bubbles. I think it's the top 4 now that are all reserves. Oh,
Matty Jones and Trez battling out, and Matty Jones going extremely up the inside there of Trez going into Brussels.
And Triz looked like he wasn't going to give that up into No Name, but decided to, he thought better of it and stayed behind quite a big risk to go at the inside there at No Name. Both of them having 3-second time penalties, as the other 2 with time penalties at the moment are down right at the back of the field.
Oh, and Matty Jones hit the wall.
Oh, that could be a safety car potentially. I don't think it will be, because he's going to get himself back underway. And he's just falling back now. Gets himself back underway in 13th. but he's going to fall down potentially almost to the back.
Oh. 2-6.
No worries. Matty Jones, yeah, so he's lost his front wing. He's going to have to pit. I'm not sure if he's pit already. He has. So he's already done his mandatory pit stop, so that's just really going to hurt him now as he makes his way into the pit. He's got no other option but to have that nose changed. Matthew, I don't believe Matthew's pit. Surely he hasn't pit yet. No, so the top 3 have yet to pit. Trey's in 6th has not pit, so there's only 4 of them that haven't done so. Haven't done their mandatory pit stop, so just waiting for them to decide when they're going to come in. Banter Brandon and Matthew, of course. Interesting decisions those two are going to have to make, being first and second with around a 2.5 second gap between them. And with nice job, mate, right on the gearbox of that McLaren. There's Ginge now up the inside at Brussels, but then look at that, Aki trying to keep with him at no-name corner, but had to back out of it. Is Ginge looked like he had more momentum in the mid part at the apex of the corner on the outsides, and he had to just lift off the throttle, blend out, and let Ginge have that 10th place for now. I'm sure Aki's going to try and fight back as early as he possibly can, just waiting for the best moment. Of course, down here we're getting a big queue of cars starting to form. No DRS down this back straight through Blanchimont and then the bus stop chicane, but it's not really needed. As you can see, he gets such a good slipstream, a brilliant tow down towards No Name as Lee defends to the inside. Whoa, that was a little bit naughty there from the Aston Martin driver. He left a car's width and then decided he didn't want to leave it when they got on the brakes. That could have been a really big accident there. And what's Pippa going to do? He's committed to the inside line. He has the DRS. They're both on the hard tyres. He makes the apex beautifully and kind of almost does back to Lee what he did to him and just sort of pushed him out and forced the move. But of course, Pippo now going to have to be looking in his mirrors really very hard as Lee has got the DRS to come back at him now as we cross that DRS line. They both have no battery to play with, but of course having the aid of the DRS, and here comes Royal Rumble as well. Look how powerful it is. You can just lose 2 places in one corner, but he was able to get the place back, actually getting later on the brakes on the outside.
Yeah, it looked like Purple Kennedy just came
but here we go again. Whoa. Royal Rumble trying it at Brussels, and we've seen it a few times today, and he's got it done.
Nicely done there. He kind of backed out from going up the inside of Lee there, going into Lacombe, and with him having backed out, that gave Pippo Kennedy the chance to slip up the back around the outside.
And now he's trying it on Lee, trying it around the outside at Campos. As we go into the first part of Stavelot and then the second, before we go on this long run towards Blanchimont and then No Name Corner, which I said no DRS down here, but the slipstream for some reason is very powerful. The race leader has come into the pits. The driver who was sitting in third is also now pitted, and I feel, Lee, they're going to come out in this big cluster of cars here, I think. No. Oh, maybe not actually.
Royal Rumble and Lee making contact there, and that's put Lee right down. Pippo Kennedy is side by side with Ginger going into turn 1. Who's going to be later on the brakes? And it looks like it's
made contact again. Yeah,
turns in a little bit too early, and now that's going to leave Pippo Kennedy vulnerable to Chuckle. And they're going to be going side by side. He looks like they are going to be going up, and Pippo Kennedy decides to back out. And going up there, he's going to have the slipstream. Chuckle could be moving up into 7th place area as he moved to the left-hand side before the DRS even opens. And there it goes, easy peasy as Pippo Kennedy going to get it. He's going up the inside here, and he's going to get it. They're going to be side by side going through Lacombe. And a little bit of contact there. And now Pippo Kennedy gets up into that 8th position. But wait a minute, there's Ginge coming back at him. Is he going to get the move done around the outside of Brussels? And no, he doesn't. Absolutely excellent battle there. Chuckle now on the tail of Triz ahead, who's on them old medium compound tyres. Breathe. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you now.
My microphone again, just being a bit dodgy. No, I was saying, you were talking so loud, you were talking so fastly. I felt like I was in the middle of March at the Cheltenham Festival at Gold Cup Friday. That you were almost like you were commentating on horse racing. Then, as we go down into Les Sources with this mid pack, and yeah, this is getting awfully feisty. As Tiny now takes the lead as they go into Les Sources, but we're concentrating on this mid pack here, Lees. It really does feel like a horse race at Cheltenham as they're going towards. Oh, are we going to see a side-by-side? No, Chuckle gets past before they get to Eau Rouge. But yeah, we did actually behind Pippo Kennedy and Ginge. God, they're making us earn our money this evening, aren't they? Is Triz now up the inside at Chuckle. This has been absolutely fantastic. Pippo Kennedy, and then Chuckle again, and that's caused a chain reaction with Pippo going into the back and Chuckle.
I think
Les Sources Les Com has not been a good section of corners for Chuckle today. It really hasn't, as he now goes up the inside at Brussels.
I think it was with Pippo Kennedy backing out of that move that ended up causing that. Oh, Matthew getting past Chuck now.
Oh, this is turning into a very interesting fight between these three. As Matthew pitted a bit later than everyone else, but he's got that tyre advantage of being on the softs with the lighter car. As they go through the bus stop chicane and down towards Les Sources, I'm really not sure who to stick with at the moment. There's so many fights going on at the end of the second third of the race, and it's just looking super
for seventh.
Looking super exciting. We're talking about that battle for seventh. Look at this. We've got an Alpine, 2 Aston Martins and a Williams all jostling for that 7th place at the moment. Here goes Ginge, trying the long way round, then going to have the shortest route to the corner and gets it done.
Pippo Kennedy throwing Royal Rumble there, battle now. Pippo Kennedy managing to get past and moving up into that 10th position, but it looks like Royal Rumble is thinking something else. And it looks like Lee just got that little bit of shaky, not being able to get the traction down out of Les Sources, and it looks like he could be going side by side with the Royal Rumble.
And they are going to go side by side, and then he has to tuck back in. I'll tell you what, Lee, they know this is the last race of 2023, and they're really wanting to see out the year with a bit of a bang here. This is absolutely fantastic, and potentially one of the best races of the year, actually, as we're going into Les Com with the midfield pack jostling every lap for position.
Yep, Royal Rumble and Lee there. Lee giving Royal Rumble right down, squeeze down at the Kemmel Straight. And the Royal Rumble going a bit wide there at Brussels, ends up losing the position to Prof for that 11th. Lee could be looking for a move around the outside of Poulon here. He's just trying to throw Triz off, and now he's going to do the old switcheroo on the exit. A little bit of contact there. Looks like that's slowed up Lee just enough, but he's going to have another look into Campos. He gets loses his traction just that little bit. They're still side by side going into Stavo. These guys are just don't know the definition of.
Oh my days! That's ended in a. That's so unfortunate. Are we going to see a safety car now? Is that going to happen? We saw it last on Monday with drivers spinning out and sort of sitting there on the track. Won't name names. Fortunately, that hasn't happened this time. But there was a little bit of me, Lee, that was hoping there was going to be. And again, look at this. Again, look, I can't keep up with what's going on here. It's almost like we need 2 pairs of commentators and 2 streams going on. There's so many overtakes as we're seeing these 4 jostle for second place. And then we go back to...
Pippo Kennedy. What a move. Going around the outside of Les Sources there.
And Banter Brandon going up the inside at Brussels, a bit further on into the lap, and now looking at the outside and No Name corner on the driver ahead of him, Chuck, and then does the up and under, the switcheroo, gets alongside as we go down into Pouon. He gets the job done. I haven't said it for a long time, Lee. It was balls to the wall with that move, and they did stick that time.
Yep, Royal Rumble and Prof, they're battling out with Lecombe there, and they're going to be side by side coming out of it. Going down into Brussels, they're going to be side by side. Prof got the better traction out of Lecombe on the outside, but Royal Rumble's going to have that inside line, the shortest route around that corner, and he manages to defend that position of 9th. They're nicely done there from the Williams man.
Gents, stop fighting for a minute. We need to have a little bit of a breath here. This is...
I know.
It's ridiculous. I said earning our money today.
Think of our throats and lungs here.
Yeah, it's yeah, fair play. They're putting on a bloody good show, I have to admit, as we go into the first part of Stavelot. And look, Royal Rumble getting out of shape there, actually. Would have lost a lot of time. But in all of this overtaking and all this manicness that's going on, Matthew is now almost 3.5 seconds in the lead and very, very comfortable. But if it was to stay like this, Chuck would actually, on paper, be winning the race. As Tiny now gets past him as well, as Banter Brandon gets past. Nice job, mate. But these Red Bulls and McLarens have been very, very quick at this Spa circuit.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've just been on another level. I mean, these top 5 here, they've just been... I mean, look at the gap. At this moment, there's 28 seconds between the brothers of Chuck. So yeah, these guys have managed to get the strategy quite nicely, and of course not been caught up in any kerfuffles throughout this race. And Chuckle, what's happened? Is that's going around the Lecombe? It has not been his corner, and now we've got a safety car.
Yeah, and that is thrown an absolute massive... Well, I would say spanner, but it's not the right term. A massive Christmas cracker in the works there. It really has.
Jesus, I never expected that. Like, I mean, we were on about it, but never expected it this late, to be honest.
Chuckle must be so disappointed, though. But yeah, Lecombe has not been his set of corners today. I think that was the 4th mistake, either of his own making or just being caught up in other people's mistakes. But yeah, no surprise whatsoever. I am pretty sure that every driver now is going to pit and all go onto the soft tyre, and I think we've had a fantastic race up to now, absolutely spot on, but I think we've got a little bit more to come. How many laps are we going to have, though? It's going to be 1 or 2. It's going to be 1 or 2 laps we're going to get.
Yeah, but these I think is that Trez? Yep, it's Trez. He's going to get a right move on and try and catch back up. Yep, he's already pit. So we've seen Lee in the pits, Aki, Matty Jones, just got to wait for Perry Bowden, see what he's going to do. And of course, this game ends up giving you a delta somehow.
Yes, and the only one that is now lapped, and unless drivers get out of the way, I think... Oh, yeah, here we go. There you go. How nice is that? Tiny actually getting off the circuit. Oh, go on, Kyle. He's letting you through, mate.
Come on, Kyle.
He's going off the track. There we go. So he's got one more to do. I'm sure Matthew has got the know-how and the intelligence to realise what's going on here. So let's hope he's probably going to try and go off the track here at No Name Corner to let him go past. Come on, Matthew.
Come on, be a lad. Come on.
Let the man through. Give him a chance.
Come on, Kyle, just pull up.
John, go and shout to Matthew. Let him know. Get him out of the way.
Be funny if you just there.
If you're there, John, tell him to get off the circuit so he can unlap himself. Let's see if it'd be brilliant if it does. But yeah, fair play. Hats off to nice job, mate, there, to letting him go through. I like that.
Yeah, good sportsmanship there. I mean, it's one thing I will say that I do find it a bit harsh in this game where if you're lapped down, that's it, you're buggered, really. Happened to me plenty of times, especially here, to be honest, in RTG. So,
Yeah.
safety car comes in this lap, we're going to end up having one lap of DRS. And that's going to be kind of interesting.
No, we won't. We're on lap 20, Lee. It'll be 21 that we start, and then 22. It'll be in 2 laps.
We're on lap 19 right now.
No, we're not.
Sorry, I was sitting on one wheel Kyle there. For some reason it showed lap 19.
Because he's on lap 19, because he's a lap car.
See, I've noticed that before. Like, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
So, no, to correctly, we're on lap 20, not 19. It is a bit of a weird thing that it does that with the game. It just goes by the individual driver, not the lead car, which I think it should be the lead car, not the individual driver. It's put nice job, mate, into a bit of a predicament now, because he did that hoping that Matthew would do the same, and he hasn't. So now he's kind of giving himself a handicap here, really.
Yeah, he has a bit, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately enough, he's going to have, I think, one wheel is going to be ghosting, so it's not going to be as bad, but
you can't overtake to the line.
Yeah, so I was about to say it's still going to be a nuisance in that sense, but yeah, like Paul Jones said there, game on, most certainly. So we're going to have 2 laps of racing.
Yep, there we go, safety car in, and look at Kyle as well, so close to the back of him. Matthew now dictates the pace. There's a long way to the start-finish line. He's got a lot of time to prepare, maintain his speed, weaving to get the heat into the tyres, where he's got the luxury where others behind don't really want to do that because they want to be reacting instantly, and obviously weaving is going to give you sort of maybe even up to half a second. And I think he's already gone there. He's gone very, very early and given himself a huge amount of breathing space. And one wheel Kyle, but yeah, they're going to try and go past him, but no, they can't. And oh my days, that's left Matthew with an absolutely massive lead as we go on to the penultimate lap. And as I said, that's just nice job, mate, doing the sportsman-like thing is now actually hurt him massively. Lee?
Yep, that gap's sitting at 2.4 seconds now between him and Matthew. That's going to be a big backfire on him. But
yeah,
now he seems to be pulling it back just little by little. Is he going to pull it back in time? That's the question.
But he hasn't got a lot of time to go. And just to keep everyone in the loop, and just to remember, the rules of RTG is if you're reserving, you get pulled out of the final standing. So as it stands, Chuck would be winning the 3rd race of the season. So really, this is the fight for the lead. Is Tiny as well. I believe he's a reserve as well. Mm-hmm. So it's really a fight between Pippo Kennedy and Chuck, who are 4th and 6th at the moment. Pippo obviously winning last week in Japan, and I believe if he was to win today, he'd be taking the lead of the championship into the new year. As we go around the second part of Stavilo, Banter Brandon getting closer to Nice Job Mate. Nice Job Mate now closing down that 2.5 second lead, what it was at the start of this lap, and he's gained a second on him by the end of the lap. As they round the final 2 corners, and we go on to the final lap. Nice Job Mate takes the fastest lap after Matthew did just before him, as we round Les Sources and on our way down to Eau Rouge for the final time today and the final lap of 2023 in RTG. Are we going to see some more spectacular moves? As said, no DRS available, only that battery and the slipstream at your disposal, but of course you can use all of it now. There's no harvesting applied to this last lap. It's all about draining the battery as that McLaren gets closer and closer to the back of Nice Job Mate. I said keep an eye on Chuck.
The top 3 are running low on fuel. Top 3 are flashing red. So is Pippo.
After that safety car though, are we really going to see people running out of fuel?
Well, they're flashing red, so that means they've got not enough fuel to go to the end of the lap. So,
well, yeah, Matthew's on 0.5 of a lap, and he is at about half the lap. So maybe that's why the time's come down, because he's been trying to save a bit of fuel in the last couple of laps, lifting and coasting before getting on the brakes into corners and just saving that little bit of fuel. And yeah, it's tight on fuel for a couple of them, and that safety car really saved their bacon as Pippo Kennedy getting closer and closer to the back of Tiny. He's technically in second at the moment. He doesn't want to take too many risks, but he may not even know that he's in second place, so he may want to go for it anyway. Oh my days, Chuck getting closer and closer, then Tiny goes wide as we go on to the start-finish straight. Matthew takes the win, Banter Brandon comes second, Nice Job Mate comes third, Chuck crosses the line in fourth, which subsequently means he's won the Belgian Grand Prix with Pippo in second. I think Ginger's going to be third. And that is the end of the Belgian Grand Prix.
I will say, absolutely smashing race there from everybody. Great battling, like that was just incredible. Couldn't even catch a breath. Really, just with how mad it was at some points. But now, that is the end of the race. And now we'll get the final rundown. I don't even have a clue for.
We'll just do what it says. I think we'll just. Oh yeah, we spoke about driver of the day actually. Well, yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, we'll hold that thought for just a moment, and we've got Matthew there who gets that win. Banter Brandon in second there, and Nice Job Mate in third, coming up from 16th and 17th. Nicely done from the pair of them, managing to avoid everything there, fortunately. Chuck in fourth, Pippo Kennedy fifth, Tiny in sixth, seventh was Ginge, eighth was Royal Rumble, ninth was Prof, Lee was 10th, Aki 11th, 12th Matty Jones, Parent Bowden in 13th, 14th was Triz, One Wheel Kyle was in 15th, and Chuckle and GTR did not finish the race.
So that's the end of racing in 2023 for RTG. I'm going to say no interviews this evening. I've got some stuff to do tonight. So, and after all that, actually, I think I need to have a lie down. That was intense.
Quick talk driver of the day, who are you thinking?
Driver of the day. I may give it to someone like Lee, you know. It's difficult.
It is. It's so difficult. I will say that.
That is tough. I can't even. I'm thinking maybe like Ginge or Pippo Kennedy, maybe someone like that.
Yeah.
I think Ginge. We'll go with Ginge for driver of the day today.
Yep, no worries then. That's fine.
So,
That's good.
you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh yeah, sorry, my headphones went a bit strange there. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I said unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do interviews this evening. Yeah, we'll see you in the new year on the 1st of January on a Monday with me. But yeah, thanks very much for your support in 2023. And as I said on Monday, just repeating what I said, obviously this actually being the last race. Hope you have a really good Christmas and a good New Year's. Eat a lot of food, drink a lot of drink. Hopefully you get some nice presents. And yeah, just enjoy the next week or so until we go into 2024 and kick off the, well, it's not really the second half just yet, but yeah, will be technically the second half of the season when we go into 2024. But yeah, thanks for the support on the channel this season. It's been fantastic having you watching along. A lot of regulars now, which is really lovely to see after having this channel around for sort of 3 years. It's starting to feel much more rewarding now.
Microphone.
I need to go and get a new headset.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I need to get a new headset because it keeps playing up. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching, guys. Have a great Christmas and a New Year's. Eat too much food, drink too much. Hopefully you get some decent presents. And yeah, just enjoy the next week or so. I'm going to try to as well, hopefully. But yeah, thanks very much for all your support this season. It's been, well, this year actually, not just this season. It's been fantastic having you guys watch along who are regulars now. Really lovely to see, and it just feels like our hard work is really starting to pay off now after the last few years of having the channel, changing names and that kind of thing. So I feel like we're in a really stable place now. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching. I'm sure Lee may have something to say as well, but yeah, for me it's just have a really good Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah, but just like to say thanks for everyone who's been tuning in for the streams and that. And I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas and a happy New Year. And like you said, enjoy yourselves. And from me, it's peace out.
Well, we're doing it the other way around this time, and it's goodbye from me. We'll see you next year.